You know, we've built some incredible things throughout history, but the largest structures humanity has ever created, they aren't pyramids, they're not great walls, they're living, breathing cities on a scale we've never seen before. We're talking about megacities, these sprawling hubs of culture, innovation, and just immense economic power. But of course, with that incredible scale, you get immense pressure. This right here, this is the other side of that coin. A sky choked with smog, which is just the daily reality for millions of people. And that's really the central tension of the modern megacity, this amazing promise of opportunity clouded by the consequences of its own incredible growth. So to really get your head around the scale we're talking about, just look at this number, 24.2 million. That's the population that's projected for just one megacity, Lagos, by 2030. I mean, think about that for a second. That's more people than the entire country of Australia, all packed into one sprawling urban area.
All right, so here's our game plan for breaking this all down. First, we're going to dive into what this whole megacity phenomenon is all about. Then we'll tackle gridlock because it's the core challenge that pretty much all of them face. After that, we'll look at some amazing ways to reimagine mobility, consider the human cost of it all, and finally ask what a blueprint for the city of tomorrow might actually look like.
Okay, let's kick things off with the megacity phenomenon itself. We are truly talking about humanity's greatest concentration of people, ambition, and wealth, all in one place. These cities are the epicenters of our globalized world. They're like giant magnets for talent and capital from every corner of the planet. So what exactly is a megacity, anyway? Well, the official term you'll hear is an urban agglomeration. And the big takeaway here is that this definition goes way beyond the official city limits you see on a map. It includes the entire suburban fringe, all the connected towns and territories. So a megacity isn't just a single dot on a map. It's this vast, sprawling, interconnected system. And that, right there, brings us to the single biggest threat to these incredible systems: gridlock. This is when the arteries of the city, the roads and transit networks that are supposed to be its lifeblood, literally start to choke under the strain. And look, this is so much more than just the frustration of being stuck in traffic. There's a quote from one of the sources we looked at that just nails the true cost. It's not just about pollution or losing money. It's about a general deterioration of the urban environment, which loses its human dimension. Basically, the city stops feeling human. The whole fabric of life just starts to unravel. And you see this gridlock showing up in totally different ways all over the world. Just look at these two images. On the one hand, you've got this dangerously overloaded vehicle, something you see all the time, born out of necessity. And on the other, this just sea of rickshaw traffic. They look really different, but they're both symptoms of the exact same core problem, a transportation system that's been pushed way beyond its breaking point. The thing is, gridlock isn't just one problem. It's like a stone thrown into a pond. The ripples just keep spreading. It obviously makes air quality way worse, which leads to huge health problems. It makes cities more vulnerable to climate change. It causes staggering economic losses from all that wasted time and fuel. And maybe most importantly, it fuels social exclusion, literally cutting people off from jobs, from school, from opportunity. Okay, so if gridlock is the disease, what's the cure? This is where we get into reimagining urban mobility, looking at the breakthroughs designed to clear these critical choke points once and for all. Now, to fix this, you literally have to change the way you think about cities. And the difference between the old way and the new way is, well, it's night and day. The old approach, predict and provide, was all about one thing: building more roads for more cars. The new, sustainable approach, it's completely different. It focuses on accessibility for people, not just speed for cars. It's about visioning the kind of city we actually want to live in. So what does that actually look like on the ground? Well, it really comes down to three big ideas. You've got non-motorized transport, or NMT, which is just a fancy way of saying making cities great for walking and biking. Then there's transit-oriented development, or TOD. That's building our communities around public transit. And finally, you have these really cool innovative systems like bus rapid transit, or BRT. Let's zoom in on that last one, BRT, because honestly, this is a total game changer for a lot of places. The easiest way to think of it is like a subway system, but for buses. It uses its own dedicated lanes to just fly past all the traffic, giving you high-speed, high-capacity service, but with the flexibility and much, much lower cost of a bus system. And if you need proof, just look at the numbers from Bogota's system. They're incredible. You're talking about over $100 million for a single kilometer of metro rail versus under $6 million for BRT. That's insane.
And the big takeaway here is huge. Cities don't have to be super rich to solve their traffic nightmares. High-impact, clever solutions like BRT are actually within reach.
But building shiny new bus lanes and all that, it's only half the story. We have to look beyond the concrete and the steel and ask, what's the human cost when a city just doesn't move for everyone?
I want you to just imagine this for a second. Imagine a quarter of your paycheck for the day. Just gone. Poof. Before you even clock in. That's the reality for the urban poor in cities like Manila, who can spend a quarter or even more of their daily wages just getting to and from work. It's a financial trap.
So who gets hit the hardest by this? Who gets left behind? Well, it's the urban poor, who often live in slums with terrible transit links. It's women, whose travel needs for work and childcare and errands are often way more complex than a simple A to B commute. And of course, it's people with disabilities and the elderly, who are faced with inaccessible infrastructure at pretty much every turn. And when things get really desperate, the roads themselves become the only place left to make a living. And this image, it just shows the devastating result. For these kids, the city's arteries aren't pathways to opportunity. They're just a dangerous, dirty workplace. All right, so this all leads us to our final and maybe most important question. What's the blueprint for tomorrow? How do we build a city that actually works for all of its citizens, not just the lucky few? So what's the answer? Well, the number one thing is having a clear, really ambitious vision. Small, piecemeal projects? They're just not going to cut it. You have to think big. Take Istanbul's plan to build a massive 641-kilometer metro network. That's the kind of big-picture, long-term thinking you need to build a city that's genuinely livable and sustainable. And that really leaves us with this one final question to chew on. Megacities, for better or for worse, are our future. But as they keep growing at this incredible pace, we have to ask ourselves, are we actually building engines of opportunity that lift everyone up? Or are we just accidentally building bigger, more congested cages?